Okay, right, let's go?
Yeah, we're going.
Okay, then just a quick recap. So far, the last thing we said was this
The
massive,
rainbow.
massive idea which is going to expand in this parak. He started out again, chapter 1, he said the person is made in Tzelem Elokim, right? So Tzelem Elokim means some kind of a similarity to Elokim. Then he asked, why Dafka Elokim? Why is it the similarity to Elokim as opposed to Hashem, as opposed to any other name of Hashem? So he said because Elokim means Bala Koiches Kulam, the master of all forces, right? The source of all forces. So he says, therefore, similarly, when he created mankind, so first of all, master of all forces means that the entire world is continuously recreated every single second, every single moment. The whole world is a constant recreation, even though you don't see it. It seems like an ongoing thing, but in reality, it's like constantly rebuilding itself. And even the composition though changes. He said based on this idea that the four Yesoidos, the four primary elements, their composition continuously slightly, какие-то тональности постоянно меняются. So therefore, when he made the human being, he made him B'Tselem Elokim, which means he also gave him this ability to control the composition and the actual existence of certain worlds, or certain spiritual worlds, where if a person does good, then he kind of like plugs them in higher, and so they're stronger, they get power, as the pasuk says, Tnu oiz le'elokim, give strength to God. How can you give strength to God? The point is, that's the idea. The idea is, as godliness, as it pumps energy into this recreation of the world, as the person does well, he pumps more energy into whatever his domain. Whatever God put every single individual, and he put some kind of, myriads, we're not talking about some small thing, myriads of these different worlds, up to all the way from God to us. He put each individual person is now in the minion of those worlds. That's the Tzelem Elokim. He's the Bala Koiches. He's the source of power for all those worlds. And as a result, all of his actions can be positive, can be negative, can rebuild worlds, can destroy worlds. Okay, so now he's going to elaborate on this idea. He's going to expand on it, and it's going to get even so as crazy as that idea sounds. Now he's going to push it even stronger. Okay, so this is Perek Dalet. That's where we're starting now. Perek Dalet, fourth Perek. Okay, so he starts like this. V'zois Torah ha'odam, and this is the Torah of a person. Kol ish Israel, every Jewish male. Al yomer beliba, should not say in his heart, chas v'sholom, ki ma'ani, what am I? Ma'ani, what am I? Does anybody want this copies? I think we, let me see where it is.
Guys, можно мы будем учиться до Рифуа, Йосеф Давид Даган.
Ben Ella, right.
Можно еще Great and Festival yesterday. Sima Bas yesterday.
Sima Bas. We have an Aliyah. Okay, so it says V'zois Torah Sa'odam. This is the Torah of an Adam. Kol ish Yisrael, every Jewish male. Al yomer beliba, should not say in his heart, Ki ma'ani, what am I? U'ma koichi, and what's my power? Lifol b'masei hashfelim, to act in this lowly, in my lowly actions. Shum inyan be'olam. And what impact do I have in the world? What am I? I'm a kind of nobody. We're a little person, running around in this rat race that we're doing whatever we're doing. Kind of most of our life is an autopilot. The mitzvahs that we do it just like, put on tefillin, daven. What am I doing, right? Amnam. However, he says like this. However, yovin v'yeda, you should understand and you should know. V'yikba b'machshavos liba, and you have to like set it into the thoughts of your heart. Shekol prote masov, every little detail of one's actions, v'diburov, and even one's speech, umachshavoisov, and even one's thoughts, and he's going to elaborate especially one's thoughts. Kol eis rega, every moment, loy isavidu chas v'sholom, none of that goes to waste. nothing gets destroyed. Everything has an impact. Umarabu masav, and how great are his actions. Umu'oid godlu v'romu. They are actually they're very lofty and very high. Shekol achas oilo lefi. Every action or thought or speech goes up according to its root, or right, the root of the action, or the root of the speech, and the root of the person also. Lifol pulosa begove meroimim, to be poiled, to act its act in the highest of heights. In the great worlds that Hashem created. And he's going to say over here, the Hagah, he's going to add a little, like a dimension to it, almost like a, like a Chassidish Shavart. But it's cute. It's cute. It says v'karav l'shmoy. If you wanna, it's close to listen. Meaning, I'll give you something that you know very well, but you'll see a different pshat. And shigam zeh bechlal kavanosim, that this could also be part of their kavana. Meaning, who's there? The rabbis, the chachomim's kavana be'ovis in Pirkei Avos, right? They say, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, look at three things, right? Istakel b'shloish dvorim. Look at three things. V'al yovel l'deichet, and you're not gonna come to the hands of an Aveira, right? What is that? You should dal malamayla mimcho. You should know what's above you, right? Ayin roya, watching, watchful eye, right? Ve'oizun shamas, and a listening ear, right? What else? V'kol masecha b'sefer nichtovim, and all your actions are written down in the book, right? So it's the famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. You know what's above you, right? But depends how you, как говорят, где запятая стоит, да? Как это, what's that famous на русском фраза, да? Помиловать, да. Right. Помиловать, right. Whatever, same thing.
Казнить нельзя, помиловать.
Да.
Казнить нельзя помиловать.
Right, so it's exactly the same thing. So he says like this, da ma l'mayla mimcha. So da means no, ma what, l'mayla above you, mimcha from you. Da what's above from, so you could read it, you should know what's above you, or you could read it, you should know that what's above you, comma, is from you. Right? So Rotzeloimer, meaning to say, Imki ein charoye be'einech, even though you don't see with your eyes, ha'inyonim ha'neiroim, this awesome things, hanasim imasecha, that are actually repercussions of your actions. Aval teida ne'amon, you should be confident, ki kol ma shenasa l'mayla ba'olamos ha'elyonim, that anything that happens l'mayla, above ba'olamos ha'elyonim, in these lofty spiritual worlds, gavohe ha'gavohim, in the lofty of lofties, hakol, all of that, mimcha, all of that is from you. Al pi masecha, through your actions, la'an noitim, to which way they are leaning. Al pihem yeitzeyu v'yavoyu, according to those, your actions either goes out or goes in. Okay, so that's what he's saying. He's saying that every person has to understand, has to believe that everything that he does, every word that he says, nothing gets dropped. Everything has an impact. Everything has a lasting impact. Everything has a permanent effect. I mean, that's a pretty, again, we're going to think about this. I mean, to what extent he's going to qualify this as we go along, because it sounds almost too awesome to bear, for a regular individual person, who's running around his whole life. It's very almost like too much over here. Ube'emes, but let's keep going. Ube'emes, and in truth, ki ha'isha chacham v'yovenes zois la'anitoi, a person who is wise and understands this idea in truth, libo yochil bekirbo bechilu roda, his heart is going to tremble inside of him with like trepidation and awesomeness, right? Why? Besumoy al liboy, if he puts on places in his heart, he sets upon his heart al ma'asov asher lo tovim chas v'shalom, if he considers the repercussions of the ma'asov, of the actions asher lo tovim, that are not good, chas v'shalom. Ad heichen heimo magim, until how far reaching they are. Lekalkel olehara, is to destroy and to damage and to destroy. Bechet kal chas v'shalom, with the small chet, how far, how significant even the small chet, how significant its repercussions. Harbe yoisim mashehechriv nevuchadnetzar v'titus, much more listen, this is where it gets really crazy, much more than what destroyed Nebuchadnezzar and Titus. Right? What could be, you think, like, what could be worse than Nebuchadnezzar and Titus, right? I mean, destroying the temple of God, coming in and really destroying the temple of God in the world, destroying God's presence in the world, right? He's going to say, no, that's not true. Let's continue. He says, Ki haloi Nebuchadnezzar v'Titus, Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the first base of English, v'Titus who destroyed the second base of English, loi osu b'maseihem, they did not do in their actions, shum pagam, any damage. V'kilkul, or destruction, klal l'mayla, at all above. Yeah, they wreaked havoc down here below, right? Titus and Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the Beis Hamikdash here in this physical world, but they are just, they're like robots. Their actions don't really have an impact in the, in the lofty, in the spiritual realms, right? Because they're not connected, right? Because this is based on a few ideas that we just have to put together. That everybody knows these ideas, right? Soon, let's say we're going to have Yaakov's dream, right? This is almost the pillar of this is Yaakov's dream. What was Yaakov's dream? Right? He's dreaming and he sees that he's lying on the bottom, and above him there's a ladder. Right? Ladder is mutzav arzo, is placed. Now it's mutzav arzo, which means that it's placed on the earth. It doesn't mean it's really coming out of the earth to heavens. No, it's like almost like a ladder that's coming down from heavens to earth. Right? Meaning somebody's like pushing a ladder down. Mutzav arzo, that's what it means. It's mutzav arzo, it's placed upon the earth. Right? Over Roisha, in the head of the ladder is Magia Shemaima, is reaching to the heavens. Umalachei Elokim, and the angels of Elokim, they go up and they go down. There are many symbolic interpretations of this dream, right? Because it was an awesome night. When he woke up from it, I couldn't believe it. But the idea of that a Jew, that's what Yisrael is, this cloud Yisrael, the father, the last father after whom we are named, right? He's saying that's the definition of a human being. The definition of a human being is that he's a ladder, mutzav arza. He's connecting the physical world. He's got his legs, so to speak, on the physical world. But v'roisha, the head, is magia shamayma, right? And we say also the ladder, right? Rashi says the top of it was connected to the Yerushalayim, the Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila, and the bottom of it was the Beis Hamikdash Shalmata, right? And when he woke up, he says, this is Beis Elokim, this is Shara Shemaim, this is the house of heaven, and this is the gates of heaven. What are those two things? Again, they're different interpretations, but Rashi says that, right, he realized at that point that when there's two Beis Hamikdashes, right? There's the Beis Hamikdash over here, right, when we do our avodah, but that Beis Hamikdash is parallel to the Beis Hamikdash that's in Shemaim, right? So this is like this awesome dream, that's the symbol, that a human being is this Roisha, is this ladder that connects both the bottom and the top, and then the bottom he's in the Beis Hamikdash in the physical world, and on the top of him he's connected to the Beis Hamikdash in the spiritual world, right? So that's what this idea is. So can Nebuchadnezzar destroy the Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila? No, they have no way to reach their roots. They're not the ladder. They're not connected. Their roots don't go that high up, right? Only a Jew has that ability. Klal Yisrael, you could say, the combination of the nation has that ability. Titus and Nebuchadnezzar, those people, they're like, again, they're like robots. Bukara, Spustilion, Pribizhan, he caused a lot of damage, right? So therefore, they have no abilities to make any damages to the Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila, to make any damages to the Beis Hamikdash that's up in the heavens, in the spiritual worlds. All right, they cannot touch it. Kilohem chelek, they don't have the chelek, v'shoyrish, the root by lomes ha'elohim, to the lofty world. That they can even touch at all with their actions, make any impact in those worlds. Rak, only shebachatoeinu, only with our sins, with the sins of the Jewish people at the time, nismayet, was limited, v'tosh, and weakened, kaviyochel koyach gvura shalmaila, was weakened the strength of God in the heavens, as Migdash Hashem, which Timu, they defiled the Mikdash, the Beis Hamikdash of Hashem, kaviyochel, which Beis Hamikdash, not the Beis Hamikdash over here, the people living in that generation, they defiled the Beis Hamikdash that is, with their actions, they defiled the Beis Hamikdash that's on top, by being that ladder, which is connected on top into the bottom. So when they did their inappropriate actions on the bottom, that actually destroyed, so to speak, the Beis Hamikdash on top. Val yidei kach, and through that, hoye lahem koyach leNebuchadnezzar v'titus lechachriv hamikdash shel mata. So only then where did Nebuchadnezzar and Titus have the ability to destroy the Beis Hamikdash, which is of stone, of stone and gold and metal. That was on here on the bottom, the physical Beis Hamikdash.
But they didn't really destroy
Right?
anything.
Right. Well, he's right. He's going to say just the Hamelchuvan, which is connected to the Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila. Kamoy Shomra, and proves from a from a medrash. The medrash says in medrash Eicha says Kimcha Tchina Tchinat. A Kimcha means flour. Tchina means already ground flour. You grounded, right? You grounded the ground flour. Meaning it looked like the Beis Hamikdash was still there, the physical Beis Hamikdash was still there, but it was already only a shell. It was only like the husk. It was already destroyed long before, so to speak, Nebuchadnezzar and Titus ever got there. The Beis Hamikdash was already destroyed. Came Nebuchadnezzar and Titus, they finished the job. They destroyed the shell that was left from the Beis Hamikdash. But the Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila was already destroyed by the Chatoim, by the sins of the people at the time.
So when a Jew does an Avera, I don't want to do anything dramatic. Something like didn't say Shema in time. It's worse than Nebuchadnezzar destroying Beis Hamikdash, because when a Jew does not say Shema, does not say Shema, there are major repercussions in the real world.
The
Right.
upper world's
In
getting
the spiritual,
getting
right.
destroyed.
Nebuchadnezzar destroys Beis Hamikdash. Nothing.
Right. It's like Nebuchadnezzar is a gun, right? When somebody shoots another person,
tool.
he's a gun. So you don't get upset at the gun, right? The gun is not
Besides, when
the gun is not the problem.
when
It's the people that
Nebuchadnezzar
pull the trigger
breaking-
is a problem.
When Nebuchadnezzar breaks the Beit HaMikdash, who helps him to break HaMikdash? The same HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's say a person steals.
Right.
Who participate in this crime? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He
He
breeds.
gives him
he
for
gives
sure.
him, he gives him
the
power.
koyach, right? Right.
Not to get caught. And
Right.
Not to run
So he
away.
brings over here the whole medrash over here in the bottom. I have notes from the whole medrash. I don't think you have that in your print. I mean, you have it in your print. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He says because the pasuk says Mimoroim sholach eish b'atzmoisai. The pasuk in Eicha says, from heavens you sent fire into my bones, right? Omer Rabbi Yehuda, I guess, Husha Anovi Mekantero Kechirei Chaim V'Tachani Kemach. The Novi says in a different pasuk, take Rechaim. Rechaim, what are those things? The things that you grind flour with. What is that called?
Rock?
A stone, whatever that is, right? Take the Rechaim and take the grinder, V'Tachani Kemach, and grind the flour. So 1 second. Hokol amat chinchitin. You обычно люди ground the wheat. You don't grind flour. Flour is what comes out after you grind the wheat. Why does it say go ahead and grind the wheat? Ve'ata marta v'tachani kemach, and you said go grind wheat. Ella omra Yerushalayim lebaz Bovel. This is Yerushalayim is telling to Baz Bovel to the Malach of Bovel. Ilu mimoram loy osu b'milchama. If not from the heavens they waged war on me. Would you be able, without them waging war on me up in the heavens, would you be able to fight against me? If not from the up, from the heights, they sent upon me fire. Would you be able to win over me? Ella aria katila katlet. You killed a dead lion. Kimcha tchina tachnet. You ground flour. Karta yekidita okidita. A burnt city you put to flames, right? So this is whatever that the different three things, but right. So it's a killed lion you killed. So the action the Nebuchadnezzar did the finishing job. The job was pretty much already finished. He was the shliach, so to speak, to finish the job. Again, it gets a little complicated. Everything has a limit. Obviously, the idea itself is basic and it's true and it's fundamental. To what degree, I don't know. This is an ongoing thing that we've discussed it, but I'm saying I'm looking into. But this goes back to the famous question of the Rambam and the Ramban, right? Why were Mitzrayim punished for with 10 makas? What did they do wrong? God's decreed golus upon the Jews. God decrees that the Jews are going to be in a foreign land for 400 years, and they're going to be punished there for whatever reason that God wants it to happen. So the Mitzrayim did the job, right? If you're in Beis Din says, you know what, this person Ruvain, he is now, maybe those lashes, right? So somebody has to do it, right? So you appoint the shliach Beis Din, whoever is the palach in the Beis Din, he comes and he gives them lashes. So what is he doing? He's doing something evil? No, he's doing the mitzvah of Beis Din. He's doing something good. So why? So the Rambam asks, why is Mitzrayim punished? They're doing a good thing, right? So now I don't remember who says what anymore, the Rambam and the Ramban, but there are two answers basically that they give. One says, что они превысили. You're right. One says you're right. As far as the basic shlichus, that's not a big deal. But they enjoyed it. They put more effort into it. They did some extra. They threw some extras into it. And once you throw some extras into it, then you're chayiv for the whole thing. That was one. And the other one says that it didn't say. The Rambam says this. Is the Rambam. The Rambam says that the decree was that some nation has to do it, but it didn't specify which nation. Right? It didn't specify which nation, so Mitzrayim did it, so they're obligated for it. The Ramban doesn't like that because the Ramban says, what do you mean? If it doesn't say which nation, but if that's what the Rotzon Hashem is, if the Rotzon Hashem is that the Jews should be, the Mitzrayim should be the first one, whoever gets the mitzvah first should get the mitzvah. Why should they be punished for it? That's the Ramban's question on the Rambam.
So how does he answer?
So he answers with this answer that they actually put in more of their force into it, but again that's in one aspect. But at the end of the day, I don't know if we can say that if, let's say, a guy wants to kill a Jew, right, and let's say the Jew is not deserving of Misa, right? He's not supposed to be killed yet. Does that mean that the non-Jew has no power over him? Cannot kill him? Can be done. I have a free will. I have a gun. I pull a gun. I want to kill him. So that means that if I can't do it, my gun will not go off every time.
If it took place already, that means the Jew was bound to be killed.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. To what degree do we say a person has a free will? So let's say again. So let's say if you don't want to use an example of a non-Jew, let's say a Jew wants to go kill another Jew. Can he do it?
He has a free choice.
Free choice, right? Free will means.
But what about the victim?
What about
Is he bound to be killed if it's a Jew, the killer?
I don't know. Again, I don't know. Free will means free will.
There's also stuff happening behind the scenes.
Rather
So
do
you
it
don't know
or
who
not.
deserved what and who's supposed
Right,
to get
that's the
what.
thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's an
the-
ongoing thing that we need to think about and research and to understand. So I'm just saying. So of course the basic idea is true that the Nebuchadnezzar couldn't do it, wouldn't do it if not for whatever the decree that existed. Again, to what degree I don't know. But the bottom line is, like Felix says, that and he says this. There's in my print again. They have what's called Likutei Mamorim over here, which is again sounds very similar to Tanya, right? Because anybody ever learned Tanya over here? Any secret Chabadniks over here?
Try to a little bit.
We have someone who wrote Tanya. We have someone who wrote Tanya.
No, Tanya 2.0.
Have
So
you learned?
So Tanya is not called Tanya. Tanya is really called Likutei Amorim. Likutei Amorim. That's the original name. Likutei means gathering. Amorim means saying. Gatherings of sayings. So he titled it that even though it's him writing it, since his writing is based on different things that he learned, he feels like the Balatanya is saying that it's like I'm just gathering information. I'm a gatherer of information. So he called the book Likutei Amarim. The reason why it's called Tanya is because the first word, Tanya, means we learned in the Brisa, and he brings the Brisa, right? So it's just fun. Again, so I have a hunch. I mean, I know to some degree it's not a hunch, it's true. I don't know to what degree. And my hunch is that Nefesh HaChaim is specifically coming to disagree with very specific things in the Tanya. Like very, very specific things. So this is a basic machlokas. I mean, we're going to see some basic, very fundamental things that they're going to disagree.
So is there machlokas
But my sense is that there's more to it than just the three fundamental things that they say. Oh, this is the main machlokas between Hasidim and Misnagdim. My sense is that there's a lot of that he's coming to specifically address point by point some things in the Tanya. That's my hunch. I don't know if this indeed is the case.
So in order to learn this, you have to be proficient in Tanya to understand what he's fighting
Not
against.
maybe. Not really. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if that's so. I don't know if that's so. I don't know if that's so, because again, you have to understand Tanya in order. Tanya is in a way a much more complicated book than this, but it also organized in almost like very similar. Like I feel like there's either it's like Min HaShamayim, that again HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that these two types of teachings appear in the world side by side, right? And there's this and that, and we have to take both and try to put them together. Or I don't know. I mean, that probably the letter is for sure true. That's for sure true. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did want both of these teachings to appear in the world at the same time. But anyways,
So where's the machlok?
so over here he brings out Likutei Ma'amorim. There's in this edition. It's also Likutei. It's not Amorim like Tanya. It's Likutei Ma'amorim, which means the same thing. Likutei means gathering of his sayings over here. So the first speech over here that he says is in this idea. It expands on this idea of how much effect the person has with his actions, right? And he says this phrase, and he says, place your heart and think about this in trepidation. If somebody will say to a man, even if to a great Rasha, can you imagine how significant your actions and your sins? They're much more significant than the sins of Titus and Nebuchadnezzar. The person will be embarrassed and will just get so nervous. If we understand that same thing is true for us now, forget those generations. Same thing is true for the damage of every single individual. It damages in such a high place. But Titu Nebuchadnezzar, they did not touch any significant, spiritual impact they didn't have. So each smallest Jew in the smallest generation, the smallest time, his every little action has, million times more impact in the big scheme of things than Nebuchadnezzar and Titus, the guys who destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, so let's keep going a little more. He's gonna elaborate on this here, so I don't have to go back there. So let me see if 1 second. Let me see if he says this here. I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, let's see. Okay, v'zeu she'ispalel David, and this is what David HaMelech prayed for, all of us shalom. Yivoda kemevi lemala besvoch eitz kardumais. This is 1 second. This is again in one interpretation. Yivoda ha'oyev, that the enemy will know keshehoya maka b'sharei pischei hamikdash shehu kemevi makoisav lemala berekia. The Oyev would know that when his eitz kardumas, when he's smashing the wood with his axe, he's gonna think that his actions are actually hitting up in the heavens. Right? He should consider that he should understand that it's as if he is destroying up in the heavens. But in truth, that's not the case. It says kimevi. It will look like. It says yivoda. Tell the enemy. Right, David HaMelech is saying, tell the enemy that it looks like he's destroying the Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila. Right, I mean the Chilul Hashem of it. It looks like, wow, the temple of God, the residence of God, is being destroyed by some Babylonian, right? So it's like, how could a human being, even the great king, how can he destroy the Beis Hamikdash, which is the place of Hashem, right? It looks like he's destroying. As far as we're concerned, in our world, he's destroying the Beis Hamikdash, right? So, but in reality, that's not the case. And also on this, a person's from the holy nation should feel the trepidation. Kol hakoichos va'olamos kulam. And this goes back into an important thing, right? So every person has to understand that he, right? Also goes back to the idea of Tzelem Elokim, right? Tzelem Elokim meaning image of God, right? What are the words before Tzelem Elokim? It says Nase Odom, right? Nase Odom, let us make a man. Who is the us, right? So different interpretation of who's this us. Nase Odom. One of the Medrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took, when he created a man, he took all of the, a little bit, every single part of the creation, the spiritual creation, the lowly creation, every part of his creation had to donate a part to this new final creation called man, right? So therefore we are like a microcosm, we are connected to the entire creation. So when we do an action, again, good or bad, we are affecting the whole Bria, the entire, the entire machinery.
We're talking about a human being, not necessarily a Jew.
So, in the original plan, right? The original plan, there was supposed to be every human being. It was not supposed to be no Jew. It's supposed to be every Nasa Odom. You created man. Just we believe that along the ways, the other people didn't, fell out. The only person who stayed the course was Abraham Avinu. So we are fortunate to be his descendants. So we continue that mission.
When Hashem was creating Adam, why he had to put an Adam wherever was left from the destruction of previous generations? 900 and something.
Right. I don't.
600 souls.
I don't know.
600
I don't.
thousand.
That's already like beyond my capabilities.
Another question.
That's beyond my capabilities. But the point is like this. The point is that right. This already goes back to Arizal, right? Arizal says that the world. What's his famous phrase? Arizal says the world is a big man, right, and a man is a small world, right? You heard what you're saying? It's a famous phrase. The world is a big man, and a man is a small world, right? The whole creation, everything, and the Beis Hamikdash is the same thing, and he's gonna elaborate on this. And the Beis Hamikdash symbolically is also a miniature world, and it's also the big man. Everything in the Beis Hamikdash also corresponds to the human being, the Tzelem Elokim. Everything in the Tzelem Elokim corresponds to this big universe that God created. It's all one thing, right? Person, the Beis Hamikdash, and the entire world, they're all one thing. That's why, for example, all our malachos we learn from Shabbos. Where do we learn it from? From the thing that they did while building the Mishkan, right? Because that was the miniature world, right? So miniature world. So from Hashem rested from creating the world. We rest from creating the Mishkan, right? Everything is parallel, right? So he says like this. So he says, Gamal Zois Yecherad Lev Ha'odem HaMakodesh. And upon this, every single should feel the trepidation. The heart should what's the word? Should really shake from any individual from the holy nation. Shu koilol betavnisoi, because he includes in his being kol hakoichos v'alomes kulam, all of the powers and all of the worlds, kulam, all of them. This will elaborate on later on in Parak Vav, B'shar Beis, and also in the second gate, Parak Hey, Shehein Heima HaKodesh v'Hamikdash HaElyon, that every individual is the Kodesh, the Holy of Holies, v'Hamikdash, and the Beis Hamikdash that's above. V'Alev Shel HaOdam, the heart of every person. And when we say the heart, we really mean the brain, right? Perhaps possibly the left side, the right side, different ways of interpreting it, right? But we usually call it the heart because the heart is in the middle of the body. So like the Beis Hamikdash is considered to be in the middle of the life source of the whole world, right? So every person, his heart, Emtziisa, the gufa, in the middle of his body, who klolios hakol is also like the heart and soul of the entire creation. Every person, the being, is the heart and soul of the entire creation. Neged beis kodesh hakadoshim. So the heart, my brain, is parallel to the Holy of Holies in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, Emtze HaYisha, which is considered the middle of the creation. Evan Shesiah, this rock, right? Evan Shesiah, that rock of Shesiah, of setting, which is supposedly from the rock from which the whole world was created, right? That initial cornerstone of creation. Koilel kol shorshe mekora kedusha is kamoihu. included in him are the source of all of the holiness in the world. Uramzu b'Mishnah Perek Tfilas HaShachar, and the remez, the hint for this is in Perek Tfilas HaShachar. When a person prays, where should he be mechav in his heart? Where should he be facing? Where should he be concentrating on? He has to direct his heart towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Why his heart towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim? Why does he use that phrase? The point is because my heart, again, like I said, a person is a small world, and the world is a big person, and the Beis Hamikdash is the symbol for that. So my heart is the Kodesh HaKadoshim of the world, right? And that's what my mechav in my heart towards the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So he's going to bring the hint to this to Zohar. I'm just going to jump back to this mimer over here, and he says like this. He says that the Gemara brings that Titus brought v'chein Titus over here. It says v'chein Titus shenichnas l'kodesh hakadoshim im zoyna. Titus entered into the holy of holies with a prostitute, right? Because to show, like to defile as it could be, right? You think this is holy? This is nothing, right? So he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, this holy of holies that no Jew would ever go into. If they would go into, but the Kohen Gadol, if he wasn't worthy, he would come out and he would die. The holy of holies. Titus goes in with the Zoyna. Can you think of any greater sin that could possibly be imagined? Can there be any worse action? But in truth, every person himself is a Beis Hamikdash. Kolol mikolo ilomas is built, is connected of all the worlds. Umikudush mehem, and raised above them. V'halev mikudush, and his heart, which means that the brain, is even more pnimi, it's more internal, therefore it's more holy. Right? Doima lekodesh hakadoshim, it's similar to the kodesh hakadoshim. V'zeh she'omri chaven esliba keneged kodesh hakadoshim. This is why we have to direct our heart towards the kodesh hakadoshim when we pray. Ube'eis yitur achar levavoy. When a person strays after his heart, umifatehu, and it convinces him lachshav machshavos znus, to think of an appropriate thoughts, right? Thoughts of znus. Halo yechrad ha'ish v'yala aliv. A person should really worry and think about the fact that he in reality he is the one who's bringing the zoyna into the holy of holies, because he's bringing it to the Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila. While Titus brought it again into the shell, into the husk that was left in the physical thing.
It didn't
while
reflect in the higher.
Right, they had no connection in the higher world. I mean, again, it looked like obviously, well, it was a Chil Hashem, so obviously it did have some impact in the big scheme of things, because it was a Chil Hashem. But internally speaking, a person who has illicit thoughts, I mean, whatever. Again, this is. A person who has illicit thoughts, in essence, is bringing the zoyna into the Kodesh HaKadosh. Okay, and with that happy thought, I guess we'll stop.
Guilt tripping book.